How do you think Brodie Croft looked today?
Thought he looked like Brodie Croft, but in a better coloured jersey.
Leeds has won back-to-back Rugby League titles. The golden generation finally has its golden fleece. No England game, it seems, is complete without a Ryan Hall try. Jamie Peacock.
Kevin Sinfield.
Rob Burrow.
Jamie Jones Buchanan for Leeds.
It's one of the most popular beards in rugby league.
There aren't many in Super League that can do that.
We just want to be a great friend, and if we can all try and be a bit of a better friend from time to time, I think we have a bit of a better place to live in.
The Lot Pod is kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. Fast Signs are an established family-run business who have been providing businesses around Leeds and West Yorkshire with effective signs and graphics for almost 30 years. Fast Signs are passionate about helping customers make a statement with signs that are eye-catching, effective and delivered fast. Hello! Hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by Fast Signs. I'd like to say thank you to Fast Signs for their continued support with their sponsorship with this very podcast. I'm Eddie. There's no Rhys, there's no Chris today, as they both take a break from this one. Bit of a weird game to take a break from, I think. We finally get a decent win. We are streaming live on YouTube now. We do sometimes when we are in the studio. We always, record our podcast live on YouTube. So it's well worth giving us subscribing to us on YouTube. So you get to watch my massive forehead live on YouTube. As we are live, as I keep saying, I've said live so many times now, it doesn't feel like a real word. So I'm going to stop saying live. But we are live, that's the last one, on YouTube. So please do join us and join in the debate and share your views as myself and my guest, who I'm going to introduce in a second, discuss things. We love it when you guys get involved with us. This is all for you guys. So let's discuss this amazing win against Wigan. So there's no Rhys, there's no Chris as they enjoy this, what has been an absolutely gorgeous Sunday. They continue to enjoy that. It's Cameron. How are you?
I am in a fantastic mood because yesterday I wasn't expecting to
was
this good of mood, but I
am. It was just a beautiful thing and well worth reviewing. And I'm actually, because as you know, when you do review these things constantly, you're just like, oh my God, another defeat. And you try to find positives and you try to put a positive spin on things. But we're finally here and we've got an amazing win to review. Match review panel time. Leeds 30. By the way, we never ever say the score, or it's very rare that we say the score on this platform unless we win. Leeds 30, Wigan 4. We spoke earlier, Cam, as we always do, and you said there's loads of positives. So in true Lot Pod fashion, Cam, what are the positives from this one?
I'm going to start with somebody who I'm pretty sure played 80 minutes in two different positions. It was a Herculean performance from him.
Herculean, love it.
yeah. Jared O'Connor. I mean, I wasn't actually that enamoured by the decision to start him at 13. I thought he's our backup hooker, so use him as a backup hooker. There's no need to cross wires, play somebody like Bentley or Goodemond at 13. But, I'm happy to be proven wrong. And in this case, Mr. Brad Arthur, Farmer Arthur, certainly did prove me wrong because Jared put in an amazing stint to start the game at 13, then moved to 9 without missing a step. Was excellent there, I thought. Kept the ruck speed going nicely and then moved back to 13 and again did not,
So natural. One of the most natural rugby league players I've ever seen, that young man. Friend of the pod.
Yeah. He's a beautiful human being, is Jared.
He's a beautiful, good-looking human being. He's going to live till he's 99. Any other positives, Cam? We're going to be here all day, aren't we? Let's keep the positives rolling. It's very rare.
Yeah, especially this season. Another positive is the atmosphere. For a while, I feel like the atmosphere has been a bit lukewarm at Headingley. I think the last time we had a really sort of strong atmosphere was the end of the 2022 season for obvious reasons. But for this game, you actually could feel the South Stand sort of trying to galvanise the lads. I mean, there was a point in the first half where Sam Lasoni and Justin Sangare both shot out the line and made massive tackles because they were just spurred on by the South Stand.
And what we were giving them, yeah.
Exactly, and it just sort of it built and built and built to sort of crescendo in the second half where everyone was up for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed giving it to the Wigan fans because where I stand isn't that far away from the Western Terraces, so I was giving it them. Not that they could hear me, but I was giving them it large.
Doesn't matter. They can't see me giving them the V's at the furthest point from the stadium. It's just so satisfying just to give them a pair of those. George, you don't watch this, you just listen, so I can do that. So I'm not telling you what I'm doing. I agree with you. I thought everyone was a positive. I thought there were loads of positive. I thought the weather, the kickoff time, Leeds United beforehand, that we won't talk about them because they're diabolical. Tom Nicholson-Watton, Alfie Edgill.
Oh, yeah, absolutely brilliant, both of them lads. TNW, he took one drive. From a kickoff, and I turned to my dad and said, "That was brilliant. That was better than most of our props most of this season." And yet he's not been getting a game. I don't really get it. Excellent, and yeah, Alfie Edgill. My dad asked me if I'd mention him on pod because he didn't like the fact that I mentioned what he said about Donaldson in the Huddersfield pod, but he is going to get mentioned actually because he said to me, Alfie Edgill's going to be a really good player, and I agree with him. He's excellent. He just does everything the sort of 100% effort, which is half the battle.
He put an amazing hit on. Was it on Kieran?
It was either Kieran or Ecclesley.
Ecclesley won it. Yeah, came straight out, read it perfectly. Bang, a great hit. And BBL, Ben Big Littlewood, making his debut? I think it was it.
Yeah, it technically was. He was named on the bench, but was an unused substitute against Lee. So he's been part of the matchday squad for probably the two most enjoyable victories of the season because that league game obviously meant a lot, certainly on an emotional level, and then this was by far and away the best win, just in terms of performance. And he got on this time. I'm really pleased for him. I also want to talk about, just briefly, David Fussatua. We'll talk about a big hit from Alfie Edgill. Fussy came up with an amazing read. I think it was at the end of the first half where Wigan had got 3-on-1 down their left edge, our right edge. And it looked like try for all money. And then Fussy just read it brilliantly and absolutely smashed Jay Field. Yeah,
the tackle was unbelievable. Yeah.
Brilliant. He's so good defensively.
And a bit of a game changer. No Cam Smith, no Ash, no Mick. No chance. I think a lot of Leeds fans were thinking, walking into this one, everyone can hold their hands up. They don't have to feel ashamed that a lot of people thought we were going to get battered.
Yeah.
How did you feel kind of walking towards Headingley? What were your thoughts and feelings? Now, listen, you can say what you like now because you can tell everybody, I'm a bit disappointed actually because I thought we were going to beat them by 40.
I wish that was my attitude going into this. I was actually getting told off by my dad because I said two things when we got to the ground. I said, I don't think I've ever been less enthusiastic for a Leeds game ever because I didn't see a world where we were going to win, even though they did play on Tuesday. I just couldn't see it. And also, sort of in the camp that season's over because of the result last week. And that's not to say the performance was terrible last week. I don't think it was. I don't think it was brilliant either, but it was somewhere in between. It was a serviceable performance. It just wasn't the result that we needed. So I was really deflated. And I also said to my dad, I don't think and I don't mean I dislike, Leeds, but like if I was to rank every Leeds team that I've seen, this one before the game, I would have put at the bottom in terms of likability because I don't think there's just that much to like about them at the minute, or there hadn't been. But that performance sort of gave me, the best performance to watch that I've had for like 2 years. I absolutely loved it. But second of all, it rekindled my faith in the majority of the squad and the club again. It showed me like what we can actually do, and there is really likable qualities in these players. We just got to mine it out of them and then use that as the core moving forward, whether or not we make the playoffs or not this year.
On to the game itself. Captain Frawley, history maker on this podcast for Fast Signs Player of the Match winning performances recently. I thought he played really well yesterday. We are going to do the player ratings later. The player ratings, say something along those lines, and no spoilers, but he had a good game, even including the player ratings. I thought he played really well. I thought he controlled it a bit, and a bit of a captain's performance. I do feel, obviously, the whole team stepped up. It wasn't just fantastic, super Fast Signs Matt Frawley, but I thought that was a captain's performance. Would you agree with that, Cam?
Yeah, I thought it were excellent. It wasn't the kind of performance that he's had recently, where he's sort of the standout, producing loads of tries and assists. It was a bit more nuanced than that, I suppose. It was steady away in the middle. Like I keep making this point. They share the kicking duties a lot better now. Croft and Miller chipping in, but he were there with some really good kicks as well. But it's just the little things, testing their line, asking questions. This is going to be a really sort of weird comparison, but
we enjoy weird. We like weird. We embrace weird.
We do on this podcast, I feel. I'll always sort of remember this sort of analysis that I gave. Do you remember when we got battered by St Helens in the Super League semi-final?
No, forgotten.
Fair enough. But we had a lot of people injured that day, and we got battered. But I don't actually think our defence was that terrible that day. It was more a case of we just had nothing to throw at them in attack, and when you've got nothing to throw at a good team in attack, they'll just absorb it really easily and then go at you. And the sort of the fatigue element comes in. Part of what was important yesterday, we were always testing Wigan. It wasn't just that we were hanging in there. When we had the ball, we were asking questions. Croft did it excellently, but so did Frawley. You don't know if he's going to pass or run, which I think is a really important part of a halfback's game. Another thing is he sets the tone for the play for the first try. So often if that first pass isn't there to Miller, then Miller can't do the brilliant pass that sets Rhys away. Sometimes that first pass gets overlooked, but actually it's a really important part of the play.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, he was just steady away. He set the tone up. It's sort of just by what he did, and that's what you want from a captain. Bold decision to give him the captaincy.
I agree.
Giving it to someone like Brodie Croft, and especially like performances that Frawley had, and the stick that he were getting early in the season. It's amazing how he's sort of developed and. Go back to it as that league game. Since that league game, he's sort of really gone on, and every game he's got better and better and better. And I think part of that is Brad Arthur. It feels like Arthur's come in and just said, "Look, I've seen you play in the NRL. I know you're a good player. Now go out there and show it." And also, it's just this vibe of take the pressure off. It's like share the pressure amongst the team, and just work as a team and play to your strengths. And I think that's what we're doing with Frawley.
It's a very simple game. Lachie Miller. Farmer Arthur said after the game about Miller, because he had a fantastic game, but he mentioned something along the lines of Miller was doing a lot of running with the ball previously, but nothing really effective. Something along those lines. Everyone that's heard it will know what I'm talking about. So he seems to have changed his game to a more direct style. That's obviously down to Farmer Arthur. He has obviously said to him, look, as is with a lot of players, we're going to come on to one later in James Bentley. Do you think that slight change, have you noticed that? I've definitely noticed a slight change. Do you think that slight change, and after Farmer Arthur's mentioned it, Cam, did it? Because to me, he's definitely been playing better, but until I heard Farmer Arthur say about him kind of running a bit aimlessly at times, it was only then did the penny drop for me. Were you similar, or had you kind of noticed that more direct running style from Lachie?
It was the Huddersfield game for me. Every time he seemed to get the ball against Huddersfield, the direction he seemed to travel was forward more often than sideways, like a lot. And I still think he's got it in him a little bit, but it's getting less and less, which is good. Is the compulsion to go sideways to beat a man when it's not necessary to beat the man. take the victory, take the small wins, because small wins add up. If you're in a collision, you're winning the collision, get down, quick play the ball, and all that. But all you got to do, the two tries the last two tries that he scored, the one against Huddersfield and the one yesterday, they're like a microcosm for how he's evolved his game.
Wow.
How he's evolved his game in the last few weeks.
Cameron's evolving his vocabulary, that's for sure.
Always. He's been put into gaps and just using that pace that he's got. I don't think he's that quick over 100 meters, but over like 10, 20 meters, he has got like a burst of pace.
I agree.
He's not like the smallest in terms of his stature. He's quite powerful. And he just goes through, and he still had a lot to do as well, like beat field and power through the tackle at Farrell.
And he backed himself as well, didn't he? He had the confidence to say it was a great ball from Brody. And like Duncan, I think with Duncan, sorry if it wasn't you, Duncan, who mentioned to me in some WhatsApp group earlier about it's not often Liam Farrell gets a misread in defence because he's so brilliant in defence. I think we can all agree with that. And Brody's ball gave him that and put Lachie straight in. Now, Lachie had a lot to do from that point. Yeah. But he backed himself, and he sort of backed himself into the corner where there's that less space, but he sort of said it, I'm assuming it with Jay Field, who kind of got all the
field and then rides the tackle of Farrell to the line.
He kind of said, you know what, I'm going to back myself. I can score from here, and absolute full credit to Lachie, because it was actually a beautiful try.
It was brilliant. It's just the kind of try that I always sort of envisaged him scoring when we signed him, and it's just taking his raw abilities and his skill and sort of tweaking it, tweaking the game, tweaking how he's playing so that he's maximising it. He's seeing a gap and he's going for it. And that's what you've got to do, because especially at the highest level, if you are in two minds, if you're thinking, I'll just sidestep past this guy and then go, the gap's gone, and you can.
And that's when it's that split second. And I always will. I'm sure the people watching this, listening back to this, I'll always back a player's decision because it's so quick in that moment.
Yeah.
So you're either going to pin your ears back and go straight for the line, and if you go into touch, you can kind of see, right, he's made that decision, and again, if he cuts inside, right, he's made that decision, it's fine. Or if he passes, as long as they make the decision, like you say, and they don't kind of falter or halt themselves, back yourself. And Miller did that. And to be honest, I think he's playing really well. But we're going to come on to it more when we talk about James Bentley, about the effects that Farmer Arthur's had on the players. But he's another one, Cam, where it's been a small change, but he seems to be flourishing, does Miller. And I think he's going to get better and better, as all the players will, the longer Arthur stays.
Yeah. I think as well, just one more point on the Miller try. That play, it seemed planned and calculated. I'm going to do a dummy, one inside ball, and everyone's going to think, oh, that's a dummy, and then it'll just be a normal play after that. But then to do the actual inside ball after that, it seemed planned, calculated. And, we've scored a few tries in the last sort of two games, maybe three, including Huddersfield, because the tries that we scored against Salford were very good tries, where we've sort of had these planned moves and we've executed them well.
And we've set them up and pulled them off here.
Come up for us, and I thought that was a prime example of how we've just added that a little bit more into our game, and it's coming off.
Someone else who scored a fantastic try, and someone who Duncan was banging the drum for last week, and rightly so, is Harry Newman. Scored a beauty try. An awesome performance. Seems to be another one. Again, it's the theme of the pod. Another one who is thriving under Farmer Arthur. What I like about Harry is he wears his heart on his sleeve, win, lose or draw, but he's almost a cheerleader for the crowd in the South Stand in particular. He gets them going. He gets us, because he almost feeds off it, like you mentioned earlier with Lasoni and Sangre making a hit up. It's almost like he needs us to back the team, to back him, to keep chanting, to keep the momentum going, to pull them through, particularly in a game like this. But what did you make of Harry's performance yesterday, Cam?
I think the change that Harry's had over the last few weeks is, he does thrive off what the crowd's doing and momentum. I always feel like he sometimes lives and dies too much by moments. You know, if something don't go his way or whatever, he can sort of let his head drop. Whereas it just seems to be sort of going steady away. We talk about setting the tone with Matt Frawley. You know, it's not just Harry's not just going looking for the big 5-star play at the minute. You know, he's doing the little things right. You know, he's taking carries and not panicking. He's not looking to force the offload. He's not looking at beating a million minutes. I've beaten one guy, met my meters, I take the tackle, and again, those things add up. And you know, the reason why he's actually in the position that he is to score the try is because he's further inside because he's looking to do some work.
He's looking for
get the heat off the pack, and that's why he's so far inside. Because really, you'd have thought he'd have been in Rhys's position, you know, in that sort of wide position, collecting the ball. So, you know, he's sort of doing the little things right, and he seems to sort of be less defined by big moments and just going about his business. And when the big moments come, you know, because he's not sort of had that big standout Harry Newman moment. You know, I know he scored, but most of the work was done by somebody else. But when those big moments come, you feel like he's more likely to sort of take them and grasp them because of the little things that he's doing that'll build up into more
building up, yeah. Agreed. You mentioned Rhys Martin. He kicked well yesterday. He played well yesterday. The player ratings, again, kind of the same with everyone really, but in particular Newman, Frawley and Rhys Martin. We'll come to the player ratings. No spoilers. He kicked well. What do you think of his performance? Because we kind of... Last week, he got a bit of a kick for his performance after it was announced that he is leaving. I know there's one or two people in our YouTube chat saying, Ginny says did wonder if Rhys Martin might be regretting his decision. Maybe so. But the fact that we've announced that he's leaving, he is leaving, unfortunately. But in terms of his performance, because I feel we did need a better performance from Rhys. Now, what is miraculous is Salford is the first game in 3 years, 4 years? How long has he been here? 5 years?
He's been here since 29.
A long time, let's say. That I cannot remember, and I'm being absolutely genuine, a bad performance from Rhys Martin. He didn't play well at Salford, and we discussed that. So that is a pure abnormality. Is this the Rhys Martin that we know and love, Cam, this version against Wigan?
I think so. I think another sort of change that we've seen under Arthur is it feels like the second rowers are doing more work with the ball. It always felt like our back rowers were there to make tackles, and that's a fine way of doing it. I think if you got really big props, but the problem is we haven't got them. So it's been nice to see the second rowers sort of seem to get more ball, you know, taking more carries. You know, I also thought James McDonald on the other side, you know, he scored a well-deserved try. You know, he had some terrific carries, and the work that he does in defence is, you know, outstanding. So I thought both second rows were really good. The thing about Rhys is, though, you can put him into space, and it's like watching a centre go. Like, you know, he's put in a space by Miller, and, you know, some second rowers, you know, wouldn't make it as far as he did, and we, you know, wouldn't score the try, but he's got that sort of extra bit of class about him that sort of carries him quite far downfield, and then we get the try off the back of it. But no, you know, he had his kicking boots on as well. You know, scored 18 points, I think, in total with his try and the number of goals that kicked. So that's more kind of Rhys. Almost goes under the radar when he does play well a lot of the time, because it's just sort of, you know, what we've come to expect.
Sort of highlighted last week that the abnormality when he had a poorer game.
Yeah,
that is an abnormality, because that's weird. You know, that's not Rhys Martin. Perhaps he did have it on his mind that it was confirmed, and, you know, kind of sealed that, and the club confirmed that he was leaving. Maybe that was it. But this is the Rhys Martin that we know and love, and this is the Rhys Martin for the rest of the year that we will see. I can promise you, he is an absolute professional. Just on Wigan, I heard read a lot of people online, and hearing people and people that spoke to me. They said people told me that Wigan just felt like they had to turn up, and I absolutely disagree with that, because we battered them, you know. And that kind of comment where Wigan, people saying, "Oh, Wigan just didn't play well," or "Wigan played midweek," excuses, whatever. We battered them, and I think we never looked like losing. David McDermott in our comments said something along the lines of he was always in fear or something until the 80th minute. Forgive me, David. Something along those lines. How did you feel? Because I felt throughout the whole game, I felt Wigan didn't really get a sniff. And I think all the kudos, 100%, which might sound weird coming on this podcast, deserves to go to this Rhino side and Farmer Arthur.
I think so. I mean, you can waffle on about them playing 3 games in 10 days, but
who cares, right? Yeah, exactly.
First
who
of
cares?
all,
Who gives a shit?
Who cares? Second of all, have you seen? There was that wonderful, well, not wonderful, but there was that shot just before the red card from Harry Smith of all the people that we've got out sat in stands. People like Ash Handley, Cameron Smith, Mikolaj Oledzki. We're missing we had, for times in that game, we had a front row of James Bentley, Andy Ackers, and Mikel Gudemond. That's there's pretty much 2 second rowers at prop, and I want to pay credit to this one Wigan fan. When we were walking back to his car, we were going past the coaches, and this Wigan fan was sort of just congratulating every Leeds fan that sort of went past him and said, you really deserve that. You played better than we did. And I think that's the way it should be looked at. I do think sort of very early on in the game, you could kind of sense it. I think people would have expected Wigan's pack to sort of roll us over and us to be sort of conceding 60, 70 metres per set and us to struggle going the other way. But, I think they probably edged it for the first sort of 10 minutes in terms of yardage, but only by that much. And that sort of showed me, actually, we're in this. The way we were defending as well, especially on our own line, it felt like we were going to be difficult to break down. And then sort of once we got our noses in front of what were a lovely try, you could just sort of, it's about that sort of, we started well, we were doing the positives, we were getting the small victories, and then it builds to a big victory with the try, and then it just builds and builds and builds and builds until you're on the crest of a wave. And the second half, we were just unstoppable.
I would actually gutted, devastated. In fact, I was devastated when Wigan scored.
I thought we could have nailed them.
Gutted.
Them.
Absolutely gutted.
I think if Fussy stays on, I don't think we could see that try. I think, because you end up with a bit of a misshapen right edge there. I was gutted though because it felt. I
think the majority of, I think the whole stadium was, and they were just like, cover your ears, George. Shit, I really wanted to nil this.
Unfortunately, we did have the last laugh. I did appreciate scoring.
That's all.
Right. Yeah,
and that's all that matters. You mentioned him earlier, James McDonald, another player really enjoying playing under Farmer Arthur. It seems. What did you make of James's performance yesterday? And I kind of pause there because, again, it's another teaser for the player ratings. But here's another one that's in the mix. What did you make of James' performance? I think he just gets through tons of work, and he's got the odd try in him. He hits hard, he defends hard. He's a genuine all-round, well-rounded second rower. Did you think he played well yesterday, Cam?
I mean, I'm a big lover of James McDonald anyway.
I love James McDonald.
Yeah, I think he gets through loads of work. And he does have a try in him. There was that spell last season where he just seemed to be scoring every week for about 5-6 weeks. And he got a try there. I think Wigan will say that they've got a lot of good second rows, but I still think they'll kick themselves that they let him go to us. My dad always says, in terms of second rowers, we got the better end of the deal. Not that they were swapped, but like
I know what you're going to say.
And Walters ended up going over there
because Walters is absolutely pants. Everyone knows that.
Especially at second row.
Shocking.
Crap.
You don't leave Leeds and progress your career. That's a fact. If anyone knows of a player in Super League era that left Leeds and had a better career, comment on the YouTube comments. I'll leave it open. If you can prove me wrong, hey, it's happened before. I've been wrong before. September the 1st, 1995. I was wrong. Carry on, Cammy. I think, just on McDonald, I don't know the guy. I've never met him. But it comes across to me, Cam, as a coach's dream, this guy.
Oh, I think so. I think where I will praise him is he backed himself. Like, he showed up at Leeds, and when he signed for us, like, a bit of a squad player, there. I don't think he'll get that many minutes with Bentley and Martin and Gannon. He backed himself. I mean, I remember there was an interview like during the World Cup where he was explaining why he joined Leeds, because he was playing for Ireland. Like, I'm going to be a starter. I'm going to play. I'm here to play every week. And I sort of scoffed at that, going, "Oh, that's just him, backing himself." But like, he backed himself and he's proved himself, and I think he probably is a coach's dream, just the amount of work that he does. Some of the tackles he made first and second half, but there were one right in front of me in first half where he was just like, good defender. And then there was some sort of top carries where he's, carrying defenders on his back and making meters, and he deserved his try. I thought, I just can't say enough positive things about him. I just really, really rate him, and people like sort of mainly him in the squad makes me less upset about Martin leaving. Like, I love Martin, and I'd like it for him to stay, but I really like McDonald as well, and he's younger, he's got a longer shelf life, so it's not all bad in the second row department, even though you are losing Rhys at the end of the year.
Duncan's popped up with a winner. He's right, to be fair. Duncan said in the live chat, Conrad Hurrell, he has gone on to improve his career. So we'll leave it at that. That's the second time I've been wrong. Since September the 21st, 1995, and the 11th of the 8th, 2024. Thanks, Duncan. James Bentley. Streamline James Bentley. Myself and Rhys didn't recognise him when he came on to the field. So SJB, unrecognisable with his new hairdo, much improved. And in all honesty, we don't have enough skinheads. I know it's not a full skinhead, but it's shorter.
Yeah.
We need more skinheads playing this game. He ran hard, as he always does. He tackled hard. And it just was that perfect mix, the perfect version of James Bentley. Just on the edge enough. To be honest, I didn't feel he was doing anything. I think his reputation was enough. I don't know if he was talking, but in terms of physicality, he was just doing his job extremely well. He didn't... forgive me, someone may put me right in the YouTube comments. I think it was just his reputation was enough for the Wigan players to get stuck into him. We are going to come to the red card next, Cam. I hope he continues this way, because this is the best version of him that we all love. He's the perfect player for us playing this way, and he's the perfect player for the opposition as well, because they're gonna want to take his head off. Sorry, James, they are. They're going to want to get stuck into him. We're going to get penalties, potentially get a player binned or sent off. I thought it was absolutely outstanding yesterday. And again, another teaser for the player ratings, because the player ratings say exactly the same about James. What did you make about streamlined James Bentley yesterday?
It were... I mean, obviously, after a blip against Salford, where sort of felt he was probably maybe the wrong side of that line against Salford, it were a perfect follow-on from the Huddersfield game. So maybe I should just review every game if we want the best out of James Bentley, because I did the Huddersfield game and it was brilliant, and I've ended up doing the Wigan game, and it was again coming off the bench, playing in the middle, which I think is his best position now. I think a player like that you want in the middle, because that's the heat of the action. It's the epicenter, and it just suits him down to a T. Tackling, running hard. Very excellent. No, I still baffled that he got penalised. When the first sort of fracas happened. When it sort of started with between him and Harry Smith. I have no idea what he did to get penalised, because December was smacking him with elbows.
He's on the floor. He's getting smacked. Bentley's on the floor, and
I did not get.
I do think that's the flip side. Like I just mentioned there, I felt it was his own reputation and just being there that he was kind of winning things for us. But that was the flip side of it, wasn't it? It was on the floor, like not doing anything, and yet the referee's like, no, that's a penalty because it's you, James. If it's James McDonald or Rhys Martin or Sexy Jared down there, no one's batting an eyelid, either. But because it's James Bentley, so I guess that comes with the reputation. Carry on, sorry.
But no, he was brilliant. He's a great substitute to bring on as well. Bring him on, stick him in middle, and just let him cause havoc. Tackle hard and carry hard. And I thought he was excellent. And He also added a bit of a sidestep to his game, which is
I was
always
going to say that because he looked pretty goosey. A couple of goose steps there.
Yeah.
He looked rangy. I don't know. Am I looking too much into the new hairdo? You know, it must have been like, this is it. I'm streamlined. I'm SJB now. Streamlined James Bentley. I'm gonna step. I'm gonna run. Because I thought in attack as well, he was running some good lines. I don't know. He looked faster. He looked fitter. All because of his new hairdo.
He just did. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just in real life. I mean, I love the hairdo comment, and I love how you give people these amazing nicknames that only you can come
SJB,
up with.
streamlined James Bentley. That's all he's done. He's just streamlined.
But it might be a case of it's taking him a couple of weeks to sort of really get up to speed. And
yes,
so
that would also that's the more professional way of looking at it. Is it his third game? No, fourth game back.
Third or fourth game.
So he's finding his straps.
Yeah, and we spoke briefly the other day, about how he's sober and he's made these other changes to his sort of life, and you got to commend him for that. And this might be the positives. I mean, obviously there's a lot of positives for him personally, they're doing that, but from just a pure Leeds fan performance perspective, this might also be the positive side of that. Is you might even get him to see a faster, fitter, stronger James Bentley. And I keep saying it. I said it against Huddersfield, a few weeks ago. I was like, he can probably go for me at the end of the year.
I know.
If he keeps playing like this, nah, he stays for me. Absolutely.
It's and you have to be forgiven for that. I've done that loads. I'm sure Rhys and Chris and all the regulars have said, like, let's get rid of not just Bentley but any player. And then next week they prove you wrong. We are a podcast. We're in a reactive, knee-jerk podcast. So you can be forgiven for that. But and this is why I have full sympathy for Ian Blaster-Blease, Gary Everington, Brad Arthur, whoever in a salary cap sport. It is so difficult because you look at, if John Smith, for instance, halfback for Leeds, was off contract, and everyone's saying get rid of him, and then since that Blake Austin thing, and his form goes, and then you're like, we've got to give this guy a deal, and then you give him a deal, and he just goes. You're like, oh my god, cover your ears, George. We fucking gave you a 2-year deal, and now you're absolutely pants. So you can't. And then, obviously, if you let him go, and then I don't know, Wigan sign him, and he's absolutely amazing. You go, oh my god, we let him go, but so I do have full sympathy. Adam Maguire in our YouTube chat asks a really good question, Cam, and Adam says, do you think, just on James Bentley, in his recent form or form for the Wigan game, do you think Bentley's form could be to do with Rhys leaving, as Bentley could see it as an opportunity to take the second row starting spot for next year? I think it's a good point, Cam. He could be looking at things like Rhys is definitely going now. The club are absolutely going to be looking at quarter spots for the props because that's just a given. So could James Bentley be thinking, pick up some form, impress Brad Arthur, a starting spot next year could be mine?
Potentially. I kind of hope not. I kind of want to see him stay on the bench and come on in the middle. Sort of at that sort of 13, kind of like a prop role. I did say to my dad, though, we've arguably got too many players like that. You think Donaldson plays in the middle, but he's not really a prop. Gudemon again plays in the middle, not really a prop. So if we're using Bentley in that same way, you kind of got 3 of them, and probably too many. Bentley was signed as a second rower, and that was his best position for a long time. So he probably, he could very well go there. I mean, I know a lot of people want us to sort of go out and sign a top-notch second rower. I don't think that, to me, that's not a massive high priority for me. You got to go get your props, and you got to make sure you spend a lot of money and the quarter spots, if need to be, on top quality props first and foremost.
Definitely.
You got McDonald. Hopefully, you're going to have the Gannon, potentially Bentley. And I think Gudemon plays a lot of his best rugby in second row as well. So you've already got 4. Then you've got Littlewood as well, knocking on the door. So you've already got 4 or 5 options there. If by the end of it you've got space to bring in a top-notch second rower, I think you can and you do. But there's, it's not high on my priority list. It's probably sort of like 3rd after sort of 2 top-notch props, maybe even 4th. But it probably does sit as an opportunity for him, and I just want to see, no matter if it is because he wants that spot or whatever, the important thing for me is he keeps doing this to the end of the season, and then next season it continues and continues and continues.
And it just develops into the SJB that we know and love. Just onto the red card, we did say we'd mention it. Cover your ears, George. Harry Smith, the dirty little shit. Forearm smash to Bentley, who was on the floor during a tackle. I think Smith's a minger. I really do. I think he's an absolute minger. Mainly because he was shrugging his shoulders on Sky, kind of in that way of like, what, me? What? Like, what have I done? He is going to get a beauty ban because he swings his arm back. It's that backwards motion and then brings it forward down to SJB's new streamlined face. What did you think? I felt James Bentley's done his job. Duncan said in our comments, Bentley wound up Smith a treat.
I did.
Absolutely James Bentley's job. What did you think of the hit, should we call it a hit to Bentley at the time when you saw it in the ground?
It's just a cheap shot, isn't it? I mean,
disgusting. Disgusting, yeah.
It's not really what you want to see on a rugby field, and also the fact that he was going, that irks me, but made me love the red card even more. That he's going, what, me? I haven't done anything. And then when Mark shows
sorry,
card,
because I was thinking when he was giving it the old, what me, Gov? What me? I'm me, little snot rag. I thought the more they were watching it, and because they did keep cutting to Smith, obviously we can't hear the commentary, can we? All the discussion, so we're guessing. I thought he's going to get away with this. It's going to be a yellow, or it's not going to be the red that it should be. So then when the ref can't remember it, well, it doesn't matter. Did show the red. It just made it almost so satisfying. Oh, it was delicious.
It is what you enjoy.
It was the perfect glowing red shiny cherry on top of the beautiful cream whipped cake that the Rhinos had made. It's going to get a ban, rightly so. What do you think he's looking at in terms of a ban for this little minger, Cam?
Personally, I don't think he should get a ban. I think he should be allowed to play against St Helens and beat them. So when we beat Warrington, that will be only 2 points behind Saints.
Good thinking. I like your line of thinking.
That being said, first of all, absolutely the right decision to send him off. It just was. It's just stupid. It's just not nice. It should be at least 3 games. I'm not really sure what we'll see. I think it could be one of them that gets referred to tribunal and gets a hefty one.
I think so.
Arguably, really should be, but I just don't know with the disciplinary panel. So to me, it's a minimum.
Complete lottery. They just make it up.
It literally is a lottery.
They put the names into a hat like that, and they just go, right, who is it this week? And they say Harry Smith. Right, how many games has he got? No ban. Fine. Okay, that's that one. Put that one on. Next one. What's the name? James Bentley. 12 games. You haven't gone through 12 games.
Absolutely.
Because that's exactly how it works, right?
Absolutely.
Someone tell me different.
I'm going to say I've not seen any evidence to the contrary. So
exactly. Precisely. Yeah. I think he'll get. What do I think? I agree with you. You make a good point because you just cannot trust the RFL to be competent and do the right thing. If it was me, well, I hate him. I think he's a right little snot rag rat boy. I'd give him 14 games. So anything below that isn't the. I tell you something. This may be controversial. Not that I particularly care. I don't rate him. I think he's in a good. Wigan are a great side. They are a fantastic side. But he gets carried around that side. Anyway, enough on Wigan. Just to finish this off before we go to the player ratings, I completely forgot to ask this question to Duncan and Chris on last week's Sofa review. Will the Rhinos make the playoffs, Cam?
I just don't know at the minute.
What's made it worse is I don't think I put this on the running order when I sent it over to you earlier. So I don't think you've had time to even consider answering this question. So to put you on the spot, will the Rhinos make the playoffs?
It's a tough one to say.
Also, it'll be interesting to give you a bit more time to think. Will the Rhinos make the playoffs? That is a question to the people in our YouTube live chat. Will the Rhinos make the playoffs? Yes or no? Go, Cameron.
I'll say yes, because yesterday has filled me with optimism. The trouble is, in our running, we're going to bloody Sam Tompkins. I was watching him getting back, and they were comparing our fixtures to Catalans and Salford's. No mention of St Helens, even though they're on the same number of points as Salford and Catalan. I thought that were actually really disrespectful to Salford.
Yeah, they just assumed Saints over there, it's fine.
Stupid is that. That's genuinely wrong. They should have been included. But Tompkins, a Catalan player, for some reason commenting on one of his playoff rivals, which I don't think makes a lot of sense. But hey, he was like, "Oh yeah, I think Catalan we've got the harder run. Leeds have probably got a bit easy, only because we play London." That was his only argument.
That's
yeah, London, but we've got to play all three of the top three. We've got to go to Wigan. We've got Warrington next week, and we've got to go to Hull KR. And we've also got to play, Catalan, which is one of them. In football, they'd call it a 6-point game. In rugby, it's a 4-point game because you win, you're taking 2 points off your rivals as well. To me, I think we'll know a lot more this time next week after Magic. Both Salford and Catalan are in games where they could lose. I mean, I know Lee aren't brilliant, but I could see them beating Salford. I think Saints probably still will lose to Wigan, and Catalan on recent form will probably lose to Hull KR. It's just a case of, can we do a job against Warrington? Play like that will give ourselves a really good chance. I think if we... what I want to see is, I want us to see us win the next 4, which is a big ask. But I think if we can beat Warrington, and then I can't remember what order, but it's Catalan, Hull, and London. They're the 3 games after that. If we can win them 4, I think we make the playoffs. And I don't think it really matters what we do against KR and Wigan. It might do, but I don't think it matters that much.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh, there's definitely a chance.
Brilliant. I'm taking that as a yes. You do think we'll make the playoffs. On to the player ratings that we've mentioned so many times already. Player ratings. Statman Rhys tweets out, X is out of form, so go follow him at Statman Rhys after every single game. Statman Rhys posts the form out. It's just a Google form. Every single player from ratings 1 to 10. You submit those. You go through. You tell us, send us your feedback. Rhys calculates all them. And these are the ratings off the back of everyone's votes for all those players off the back of this survey. So go follow Rhys at Statman Rhys. This form comes out after every game. Cameron, you can respond to these as we go through them. Lachie Miller, 8.3.
How is he not a 9? Just going to put that out there. Definitely should be a 9.
Fussy Tour, 6.4. Thought that's a little...
Nobody should be
6.8. 6.8, yeah, I agree. Momorovsky, speaking of 7s, he got a 7. Thought Paul played well.
He did all right, yeah. Steady
Not
away.
right.
I think most people were at least steady away.
Agreed. Harry Newman. What do you think Harry Newman got, Cam? What did you give him?
What were Miller?
Miller was 8.3.
I thought Harry played well, but I don't think he was as good as Miller. So I'm just going to say solid 8.
7.7.
No, so I was close.
And David McDermott in our YouTube live chat is taking the role of producer Chris this week. So I'm just going to keep that too low there so you can all pretend that Chris is sat here with us and David's there to cover Chris. So cheers, Dave. Alfie Edgel, 7.2. Again,
A bit low for somebody, a young lad.
7.5 for me. Brodie Croft, 7.4.
I think that's too low. He should be at least an 8. I thought not everything came off for him, but you could see him making little openings all the time. And it goes back to what I was saying about Frawley is, asking questions of a team. You've got to ask questions in these kind of games. And he did that. The pass for Miller's try were excellent.
Super fast signs, historic, history-making, never-be-beaten icon of Lotpod history. Matt Frawley, 7.7. I think Matt's scores in here. There's an argument for him to be player of the match, but we will put a pin in that. We'll come to that. Just rattle through a few more. Sam Lasoni, 7.2. Andy Ackers, 7.4. Justin Sangare, 5.9. To be honest, that's probably one of Justin's highest in 5.9. So that's, again, that is in itself a positive.
I don't think he was that, despite it being a game of positives, I still don't think he was particularly brilliant.
No, I agree. I do think Justin's time at the Rhinos may come to an end. Anyway, James McDonald. We're now really on to the meat on the bone of the player ratings. 8.4 for James McDonald. So currently, he's leading because Miller got 8.3. Rhys Martin. What do you think Rhys Martin got, Cam? Quick guess.
It might be controversial, but I think he should actually be lower than McDonald, but I don't think that'll be the universal opinion, so I'm going to say he's on 8.6.
8.4.
Ooh, so he's same.
Joint with McDonald, so you were really close. Jared O'Connor, 8.2. And then I'm going to leave James Bentley to last. Goodemon, 6.8. Little Tom, 7.
Quite well.
Ben Big Littlewood, 6.6. James Bentley. There's a reason I've left him to last, and it's your last one to guess. James Bentley, what do you reckon he got, Cam?
I reckon he would give it a 9.1.
8.7. Now, for me, and I say this every pod now, what is everyone watching? What is everybody watching? You see that perfect version of streamlined James Bentley? And the highest it gets is 8.7. Not even a 9. That's crazy.
I don't believe in giving people 10. I don't ever give anyone a 10 unless it's like...
Now that is too low. Jesus Christ. What are people watching? And as I always say, the caveat to all of this is this form is posted on X. It is an open form and anyone can complete it. So there will be Sado Wigan fans and Bradford fans and Cass fans.
0.
Yeah, 0, 0, 0. Rhys does try to whittle through them, the ones that he thinks are sabotaging it. But 8.7 and Brad Arthur 9.1, which
That's
is
interesting. So he actually got the highest grade.
Brad Arthur got the highest score of all of those involved with the Rhinos. So the player ratings from all our listeners, from all our viewers, from all our followers on social media, Cam, they've got James Bentley down as the fast size player of the match. Do you agree with that, or do you have another choice?
I mean, we could always just give it to Matt Frawley just to continue this.
I was going to say, let's just go Matt Frawley because it's 5 in a row. He's already a history maker. He got 7.7.
I don't, as much as I'd love that, I don't think we're in good conscience we can't just give it. He can get the Matt. He was the Matt Frawley of the match.
He's got the fast signs Matt Frawley award.
Yeah,
perhaps we could start doing that.
Yeah, we should.
I feel like he'd have to leave, and then we could do it in his memory.
Yeah.
Perhaps a silver medal. You know, get your, where it's very Olympics heavy now, it's a bit of satire. You get your gold fast signs player of the match, but then below that, this is next season. We're workshopping live on the pod now. You get your Matt Frawley fast signs silver. So who's your man of the match, Cameron? Shook me up.
There's a number of options. Bentley's sort of in the conversation. Miller was given the Sky one, and you can understand why, because of the amount of big moments. You know, he's pretty much involved in every try. And obviously scored one, and it was very well taken. And we've mentioned the back rowers, and I sort of talked really highly of Jared at the start of the podcast. So they're my sort of options. But the one I'm going to give it to is James McDonald. You know, against his former club, stepped up. You know, he always does. Defended really well. Great carries and a lovely little second rower's try. Perfect, sort of quintessential second rower try there, hitting a good line near the line and getting a try. So he's my vote.
Going over the line to score a try, and a very good-looking man, James McDonald. I'm going to disagree, but I'm going to disagree with Cam, but I'm going to agree with all the people who completed the wonderful player ratings form. James Bentley, for me, I loved it. Great to see him back. Great to see that side of you, James. I know you are watching. I know you do watch this, and keep it up.
Excellent.
Keep the do. In fact, no, bone the head. Match me. and keep up the good form. It was brilliant to see. James Bentley, you are the Fast Signs Player of the Match. Next year, there'll be a Matt Frawley Award for second, so that would have been James McDonald. Cam, anything else to mention before we wrap this one up?
Just a performance that no matter where we finish this season, I feel like I can look back at this one and sort of go, there's something there, and that's really important. And also, we got to keep Arthur, even if it's just for 2025. I think you're going to struggle to get a coach as good as him.
Well, we won't.
Exactly.
Whoa, God, Jesus, what 10 years? That's I'm struggling to comprehend him not being here. So vital is he to us, and I'm fairly adamant that Blaster and Gary and anyone connected with the club that has any kind of say in keeping him are doing all they can. To be honest, I think the people who have the biggest say is obviously Brad and his family and stuff, but I think it's the players. I think if the players can kind of show that they're reacting to him, because if he is here for 2025, he is going to have the majority of the squad. And if they can show that they're reacting to him, that they're working to him, that they're understanding his systems, that they're taking on his advice, they're taking it all on board, I think they hold the key, or they're the only ones, apart from Brad himself, to convince him to say, look, we want you for the long haul. The players have got to really turn up, and they have. They didn't last week, but they have this week, and it's still really early days, as we keep saying, for Farmer and Arthur, but I believe that they hold a lot of importance on him staying. Thanks to Cam. Thanks to everybody that joined in on our live YouTube chat. Talking of YouTube, you go head over to YouTube and subscribe to us if you don't already, as we crawl our way up the ladder to 1,000 subscribers. Thanks to everybody that does subscribe to us, and also tell your friends and family about us and how great we are, and tell them to subscribe, and then tell them to create burner accounts that then they can subscribe to us, and that just bumps up. We don't care. We don't care if you're a Wigan fan. Just subscribe. Just subscribe. We're back on iTunes. You may have noticed that I uploaded the Salford review again. We've now cracked it. We're back on iTunes, so this will be on iTunes. All of our iTunes issues are resolved finally. If you are listening on iTunes, please head over and leave us a review on iTunes. It just bumps us up that podcast charts more than you'll know. Same with Spotify. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a 5-star review if you think we're worth it, we are. Again, bumps us up the podcast charts and makes us more visible to those people that listen to us on Spotify. And if you enjoy what we do, me, Cam, producer Chris, Statman Rhys, Duncan, and all the regulars, if you enjoy what we do, please do consider subscribing to our Patreon page. All the details are on the LotPod X account, and they'll be also on the pinned top comment on this YouTube video. Just like to say a huge thank you to those that have recently subscribed to our Patreon, and a massive thank you to those that have been subscribing from day one, from pretty much since we launched Patreon. We really appreciate your support as we move the podcast forward and improve our output and our content. None of our content will ever be behind a paywall, ever. So everyone can always continue to watch us for free. We still love you. The Patreon is just there if you want to chuck us a few quid so we can continue to grow and improve the way we do things on the Lot Pod. We'll be back with a midweek roundup for all things Rhinos, looking ahead to Magic, Leeds versus Warrington. Take care, everyone.